Hey there. How is everybody doing? I am Shanta Prince, and I help coaches and consultants to package their expertise and turn their knowledge into a profitable business. Tonight, I'm dropping in to talk to you about how to become great at anything you want. So, if you hung out with me last night, you heard me talk about going to boot camp, Navy boot camp, and how the experience was when it came to really just being forced into an entirely different system of living, a new way of doing things, and how dramatic it was. I talked about how there was no gradual like implementation of habits. Like every single thing that we were taught was pretty much like implemented on at the same at the same time. So when I started Navy boot camp, we had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. We had to go PT, which means exercise. For those of you who have no idea what that means, we had to go to class, and we had to go to eat with what we call chow. We had to go to chow. So it was a really tight schedule, and we were always like really busy. So like in boot camp, um, everything was like action packed. Like there was a lot. There was just a lot of action, a lot of things to do. So we had a really full day every single day in boot camp, and so because of that, I learned how to implement habits. And I was just talking about this to my husband this morning about how, coming from a military background, one of the things that I know how to do is I know how to implement habits. I know how to discipline myself to accomplish something that I want to accomplish. And one of the things that I really became great at is marching, right? And I'll talk about that in just a little bit more in detail. But tonight I'm talking about how to become great at anything you want. And what I mean by that is how to master something that you really are saying to yourself, like, okay, I really want to get good at this. I really want to know how to do this well. Now, I'm not talking about becoming a master at everything, because who has time for that? Like, none of us have time to become like amazing at every single thing we do, but we can become great at something that we intentionally decide that we're going to become great at. For you, it could be anything. It could be something in your business. Maybe you want to become great at sales. Maybe you want to become amazing at marketing. Maybe you want to become amazing at writing. It could be anything that you want to do. But tonight, I just really want to talk about this whole boot camp thing. First of all, because we had so much fun talking about it last night. So if you didn't catch last night's broadcast, you can just scroll and find that video where, I've talked a little bit about my experience with Navy boot camp. So I became really great at marching, right? And part of it was, so when I joined the Navy, I joined directly from high school, right? So I graduated from high school. Hey, Shakita. I graduated from high school and then I went like right into the Navy. Hey, Angela from Austin. So, hey, Cindy. So I graduated from high school and I joined the Navy like right after. And so when I was in high school, I was in band, and I was in band from the 5th grade all the way up until graduating from high school. So one of the things that I learned how to do well was march, because we did the marching band for the football season, and we would march out onto the field. And then in my senior year, I was the drum major in my band. And so there were like 110, we had like 110 students, and I was the drum major. And so I had to go to like band camp and learn like, additional skills with like marching and, directing and all of that stuff, directing a band and things like that. And so I became really great at marching because of that, right? So when I got to boot camp, I already knew how to march because I had done so much of it from being in the marching band, being a band student. So I was really great at understanding rhythm, how to march with the rhythm. And you'd be surprised, like, I know I was surprised. So when I got to boot camp, I would say, how come people are struggling so hard to march? I would say, it's just walking. Like, it's just walking, right? And so, because, in boot camp, I don't know if you ever, like, I know Cindy does, but if you know somebody who's ever been to any kind of boot camp, like, when I went, it was pretty intense. So if your steps were not in line with everybody else, you got yelled at. You may have had to get down and do a few push-ups. I've done more push-ups than I could ever imagine when I was in boot camp. And to the point where I was in the best shape ever. I was in the best shape of my life when I was in boot camp, because I was always having to get down and do push-ups for doing something wrong, making the wrong call, making the wrong step. And so it's very easy. Shakita said strutting. It's very easy to notice when everybody is marching and everybody's on the same step. It's really easy to point out someone who's not in step with everybody else. Really easy. And when you get caught, then sometimes they stop the whole division and make you get down and do push-ups, or make everybody do it, right? And so so I get to boot camp. I already know how to march because, I was just, drum major in band. And so one of the things that we did in boot camp, and I'm talking about becoming great at anything you want, right? So I had already been doing this thing for years. Then I get to another phase in my life, and it's like, oh, I already know how to do that. Let me just implement it and learn the new. So all I had to do was like learn the new command, the new calls and all that stuff. But the marching part, I had that down. You could not mess with me on some marching. Okay. So we would get up at 6:00 in the morning and like march. Everywhere we went, we had to march unless you were by yourself. When you went to go eat, what we call chow. When you went to chow, you had to march. When you went to go exercise, you had to march to the track or wherever we were exercising at. Like everywhere we went, we marched together on rhythm, and we had someone calling the cadence, which is the song that we marched to, right? And so we would get up in the morning, and sometimes it would still be dark outside. So like you're early in the morning, it's dark 30. The sun isn't even up yet. You're up before the sun, and we're all getting ready to march, right? So one day, I kid you not, one day we got up, it was dark 30. and we're all like standing in ranks, which that's what we call lines and rows. We're standing in ranks, and we got ready to march to chow breakfast. And but mind you, before this, even in boot camp, we marched so much because a lot of people who were coming in had no idea how to march. So we spent hours and hours and hours and hours marching in an empty parking lot. I mean, hours, until everybody knew how to march and everybody knew how to be on the same step. So we practiced it a lot, because not only did we practice it a lot, but we marched everywhere we go, everywhere we went. It was a march. There's no regular walking, right? And so one day at old dark 30, we're getting ready to go to breakfast, chow. And this is a true story. I remember standing in ranks that morning, and somehow, so it would take us a good 3 to 5 minutes to get to the chow hall, which is where we ate breakfast at, right? So I remember standing in ranks, and oh my goodness, guys. So that's my doorbell, and that is the pizza man, because I ordered a pizza because I'm starving. So that is the pizza man at the door. So if you're wondering what that is, that's what it is. So y'all know what I'm having for dinner. But anyway, so I'm standing in ranks, and I remember the sun wasn't even up yet. And I'm standing there like, okay, well, it's time to go to breakfast, right? I kid you not. That's the only thing I remember, is standing in ranks. And then the next thing I remember after that is being at the chow hall, which is where we eat breakfast at. So from the time I was standing in ranks where we started to the time I got to the chow hall, I had no memory of how I got there. No memory, right? I remember getting to the chow hall like, how did I get here? I don't even remember March. I don't remember getting from where we started to where we are now. No recollection, no memory, right? So I'm standing in ranks, and I'm trying to figure out the whole time, why is it that I don't remember getting here, right? What do y'all think? What do y'all think happened? Let me know in the comments. What do y'all think happened? Because I'm gonna tell you what I think happened. Okay. I think that I had marched so much that from the time we left where we started, which was the barracks, which is where we sleep, to get into the chow hall, I think I was asleep the whole time. I think I was asleep the whole time. Cindy said, you passed out. Yep, girl, in the way. I believe that I was asleep the entire time, because I told you that when you're out of step, it's very easy to notice when one person is out of step. And when one person is out of step, you get called out for it. So somehow, exactly, Shakita said sleep marching. Exactly, I was sleep marching. Because I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, if I was asleep, if I wasn't in step, how come nobody called me out about there was nothing, no, nothing the whole time. And so I became so good at marching. I literally marched all the way to chow, sleep, and woke up when we got there. I'm not and to this day, I still think back on that moment, how in the world is that even possible, right? But I became so great. Exactly. Cindy says it became second nature. Exactly. I became so great at marching, I could literally do it in my sleep. Okay. And if you know somebody who's been to boot camp, you understand it's exhausting. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. And by the end of the day, you're like, okay, it's time to go to bed. You're craving that bed by the end of the day because there's so much stuff going on. So I literally marched all the way to the chow hall in my sleep because I became so great at it, because I practiced it so much. And I was immersed in it so much. I told you we marched everywhere we go, right? Everywhere we went, we had to march. And so the reason why I'm telling you that story is because when you want to become great at anything, first of all, you have to be willing to commit to it for the long haul. Okay. If you're saying, okay, I'm really trying to grow my business, I want to become great at marketing, then you have to commit to the long haul of being in the process of becoming great at it. And that means you have to be okay with being brand new and not knowing exactly what you're doing. You have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with sucking for a little while. You have to be okay with having those that newbie feeling where you don't really know what you're doing. But you have to be okay with it and understand that I'm seeking a level of mastery, and this is just the beginning. And that means you have to be okay with making mistakes. You have to be okay with coming off as weird to other people. You have to be okay with what seems like failure. Because what I teach in my Expert Branding Academy is that when you're doing business, when you're growing your business, or when you're doing anything that you want to become great at, there really is no failure. There's only testing. Okay? So if you do something and it doesn't work, then you found a way that doesn't work. You're testing, right? I used to think that when I would launch a program or try to sell a product and it didn't sell, I used to think, oh, I failed. This didn't work. It was a failure. And I wish somebody had told me sooner that, okay, you launched this product or this program and it didn't sell. So what did you learn from it? And how are you going to go back and do it again? What are you going to implement when you go back and do it again? Okay. So there's no failure. There's only testing. You're testing things out. You're learning new things. So being committed to it for the long haul and being okay not being so great at it. Being okay practicing. Okay. Being okay trying different things. You know, and so a part of that process is really letting go of the fear that comes with stepping into something new and really seeking a new level of mastery. Shedding the fear and saying, okay, if I'm going to do this, I have to let go of the fear and really step into focus. Because when you focus means to bring something in alignment with your view. And when you're focused on something and that thing is in your view and nothing else, you would be amazed at the level of mastery that you can achieve. When you put your mind to it, when you put your heart to it. Okay? So, if you want to become great at anything, you have to eat, drink, and sleep that thing like I did with marching. From being in the marching band all the way up into boot camp. You have to really get serious about surrounding yourself with all things about that thing that you want to master. And you have to be committed and you have to be focused. One of the things that sets people apart who achieve the kind of success that God has ordained for them and people who don't is the decision. They make a decision to focus and they make a decision to put forth the effort. Okay. Cindy says it's not easy. It's not easy, like for real, for real. It's very true, Cindy. It's not easy. It's easier said than done, right? It's not easy. That is a fact. But that does not mean that it's not impossible. Difficult does not mean impossible. Difficult just means that not everybody is going to do it. Not everybody is going to put forth the effort, because you can pray for your business all you want. You can ask God to bless you. You can ask God to make your business prosper. But after you pray, you have to get up and do the work. You have to still be committed. You have to still be focused. So think about those areas where you're like, okay, I need to get focused on this thing and I need to really get committed. And what I'm seeing now is that so many people, they want the type of success that they're dreaming about, but they don't want the work that comes along with it. And that's one of the main reasons why people don't achieve the kind of success that is designed for them. One of the things that I've always believed, I do not believe that success discriminates. Success does not discriminate. Success is available to anyone who's willing to do the work. That includes you and that includes me, right? It's available to anyone who's willing to do the work. And when you get committed and when you decide that you're going to do this thing and that you're in this for a long haul, then you have to roll up your sleeves and get ready to do the work. And you have to make up in your mind that you're not shying away from hard work, because that's what it's going to take to get you where you're trying to go. Some of you have big visions and big dreams. And accomplishing that thing is on the other side of the work that you have to put in. So you got to be willing to say, okay, not only commit to it for the long haul, commit to, not being so great at it when you first get started, commit to sucking at it at first, right? But you have to commit to the work. You have to commit to the work. Cindy says, listen, this group is a place of motivation for me. Thank you, Cindy. Shakita says, don't quit when it gets difficult. Exactly. Don't quit when it gets difficult. That right there that Shakita just said, that is on point. Because when you have your mind made up, you're already prepared for the difficulty. People who know that the obstacles are coming, they respond differently when the obstacles come than people who aren't expecting obstacles. They're expecting everything to be easy. But when your mind is already made up and you're like, okay, this is not going to be easy, but I'm committed. Because that commitment is what's going to help you to get through the obstacles. Commitment is going to carry you through the obstacles. But if you start something and you're not committed, then that's going to be a problem. When as soon as the first obstacle comes up, then you're going to be ready to throw in the towel. But see, I believe that when God designed us, he put something in us that won't let us quit. And it's called determination. And determination comes when you commit, when you've made up your mind, you made up the decision and you have committed. And now you're determined to see this thing through. And when an obstacle comes, you're like, okay, now I need to figure out how to overcome this obstacle. Now I need to figure out how I'm going to deal with this. Okay? Because see, the thing is that we have to understand when it comes to whatever it is that we're doing, whether it's business, whether it's ministry, whatever it is that God has called you to do, sometimes we don't think about the lives that we're supposed to change. We don't think about the lives that we're called to change and the difference that we can make in other people's lives by just using our gifts and being who we are. And we get so caught up in like, oh, it's scary. Oh, it's hard. The obstacles this, the obstacles that we forget, wait a minute, there are people who need their lives changed. And I'm sitting on my gifts because it's too hard. See, there's a difference in knowing that something is hard and not doing it, and knowing it's hard and doing it anyway. Big difference. Big difference. I remember, Makita says, that is so true. We have to remember the impact. Yes. She says, that's what helped me to move forward. Yes, Makita, exactly. Remember the impact that we're called to make. It's a big deal. Your business is a big deal. Your gifts are a big deal. And sitting on your gifts is not helping anybody. It's not helping anybody. And so at some point, you have to accept who you are, called by God. That's what you are, called by God. And think about the people who are waiting for you to rise up so that their lives can be changed. Somebody right now is waiting for your voice. And when you rise up, they're going to say, this is the voice that I've been looking for. This is the person that I've been waiting on. Where's this person been all my life? And so that's what it really comes down to. And sometimes that is enough to shoot you forward. Because it's not only just, the clients and the customers, because you solve a problem. You are a problem solver. And your clients and your customers are not the only ones who are depending on you. Your clients and customers are not the only lives that are going to be changed when you really rise up. Your family's lives are going to change. You're going to be able to do things that no one in your family has been able to do. You're going to be able to break some things off of your family's history because you said yes and you committed. And you said, I'm going to navigate through this thing. Today, I spent a couple of hours working with my daughter on improper fractions. And I was trying to relax. I'm like, listen, I'm tired. I got to get on with my clients tonight at 7:00 and I want to be able to serve them. And right now I just want to relax so that I can get ready to serve my clients tonight. And my baby girl came downstairs with her little quiz and things, and she was struggling with improper fractions. And so I got up and I started helping her with her improper fractions, right? Then I had to send her teacher an email, a message, and say, look, I know y'all teach things a little bit different these days. I don't know like how y'all teach this stuff, but I just want you to know that I taught her the way that I learned it. So that way, if she gets back to school and she's, doing things a little bit different, that's the reason why. But guess what? She learned it and she took off. And now she's a little improper fraction machine, right? But one thing about my daughter that I really admire is she gets frustrated when it comes to math. And I was the same way. Like I would get frustrated with math, even though I became really great at math. I would get frustrated when I couldn't figure a problem out. And one thing that she does when she's struggling with something, she starts to cry. Right? The tears start coming because she's frustrated because she's like, I don't understand this. And I don't like how not understanding this is making me feel. And so she cries. But guess what? She keeps going. She keeps going. My baby will be in tears, face wet, and still be writing out those math problems. Still trying to figure it out. Still getting it wrong. Still going back to the drawing board and trying to figure out. And so when I see that in her, like it inspires me because I'm like, this child is in tears and she's still going. And it's like she's saying, this is hard, but I'm committed to figuring it out. Sometimes you have to cry your way through some stuff and say, you know what? This is hard, but I'm committed to getting it done. I am committed to changing the lives that I'm called to change. I am committed to growing this business, this ministry. I'm committed to getting this message out, even though it's hard. And it's okay. It's okay to be in tears. Listen, get on that sales call. And if you get no, but you really needed a yes, that's okay. Get off the sales call. If you need to cry it out, and then get on the next sales call. And you keep going, right? Until you master it. Until you become amazing at it. Okay? Anything, and you guys, I know you're going to be able to identify with this. Anything that you ever try to do, resistance always shows up. It is a given. And you should expect it. You should expect resistance to show up when you're trying to do something. Have you ever decided you getting ready to go on the fast and then you get to work and somebody brought Dunkin' Donuts? That's resistance. That's resistance showing up because You have made up your mind. If you have made up your mind, you said, listen, this year is going to be epic for my business. I'm growing my business this year, no matter what. And then everything starts to happen. COVID hit. The kids are out of school. The car broke down. The hot water heater needs to be replaced. You're having issues with your other adult siblings. All kinds of things just pop off. And you have to understand that that is resistance that's showing up to keep you from being able to accomplish the thing that you want to accomplish. But if you're already prepared for it to show up, like, okay, resistance, I know you coming. I made up my mind and I committed. I committed myself to becoming great at this thing, to mastering this thing. My mind is made up, so I know you're coming. So now I'm looking for you. I'm going to keep working, but I'm looking. So when you come up, I already know how to deal with you because I'm expecting you to show up to try to keep me from accomplishing my goal. But resistance will always pop up when you make up your mind. And you've got to be prepared to deal with it. Right. Shakita said, my supplies come in damaged. Exactly. Resistance. Exactly. One of my clients is doing a journal, and something happened with her journal where it just came out the formatting was all wrong. And I was like, okay, so this is what you're going to have to do. You have to take a step back, take a deep breath, and then dive back in and get it right. That is just resistance showing up to keep you from accomplishing the goal. Okay. And that happens when you commit to anything. But now you'll be prepared for it. You'll be prepared for that resistance to show up. Okay. Makita said, woo, child, I felt that. I'm pushing. It always continues when I say I'm going to move forward. But this time I mean what I say. Yes. Ooh, I got goosebumps when you said that, Makita. It's going to happen for you. You just have to keep pushing and keep pressing and be persistent. You really have to be persistent because that persistence is going to set you apart from everybody else. None of us who are here are called to be mediocre. You know why I know that? Because some of you have been on here for half an hour. That's how I know you're not called to be mediocre. We are called to be great. We are called to be problem solvers, game changers, life changers. And mediocre people give up. Mediocre people quit when things get hard. But we have a system in us that's built into us and it won't let us quit. I don't care if you've been trying to make this thing take off for 15 years. If you're still in it, that says something about you. Because you haven't given up and you haven't quit. Okay. Now what you need to do is just commit to the work and say, okay, I've been doing this for this long. And stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop saying this person has been doing it for 2 and they're already taking off. Stop comparing yourself and say, you know what? My only competition is myself. I'm taking off this year and I don't care what it takes. I'm committing this year like I never have before and I don't care what it takes. You have to be able to find a way around the obstacle. And that's what makes you, like what Shakita said here, steadfast and immovable. I'm not moving. I'm still on this mountain and I'm not moving. And no obstacle is going to knock me off. Why? Because first of all, it's not just about me. It's bigger than me. My family's legacy is depending on this. And other people's lives are depending on me standing up and doing what I need to do. Hey, Candace. Candace says, Shanta, I'm so glad I got the chance to see this. Amen, Candace. Thank you so much for watching. So think about what it is that you're supposed to be doing And I know you know it because you can feel it. You feel a pulling, you feel a tug in it. I work with women entrepreneurs. And I will tell you, 99% of the time, it's not about ability. It's not whether you can or cannot do it, because you can. 99% of the time, it's the mindset. It's what you believe about yourself and about that thing that's in front of you. I know what I'm talking about. It's how you see the obstacle. The obstacle is not the problem. The problem is how you see the obstacle. If you don't think you're going to be able to overcome this thing, then you won't. If you think you're going to overcome this thing, then you will. And that goes with starting with what I talked about earlier. You start out being committed. When you make up your mind, you say, okay, I'm committed. I'm in this thing for the long haul. I'm going to become great at this thing. I'm going to master this thing. When the obstacles come, you don't shy away. You don't back away from the obstacles. You start saying, okay, how am I going to overcome this? So whatever obstacle you're facing right now with your business, with your ministry, with whatever it is that you're called to do in this time, ask yourself, how am I going to overcome this obstacle? Okay. When I was getting my psychology degree, one of the things that I learned was that when you say no to yourself, it literally shuts down your brain from being able to help you come up with a solution. When you see something and you say, I can't do that, you shut down your brain's ability to help you to solve that problem or overcome that obstacle. But when you say, how can I do this? Your mind starts to go to work and it starts to say, okay, this is how we're going to do it. It's how God designed us. That's why the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Right? I'm a firm believer that God will meet you where you are. If you say, God, help my business to be prosperous, I want to make $1,000 this month. I believe God will meet you where you are, right? If you say, God, I want help my business to prosper, I want to make $10,000 this month, then I believe God will meet you where you are. Now, I don't mean praying just to be praying, but I mean praying out of wisdom and praying based on what the word is saying. But I believe that whatever you're asking God for, if you pray for that thing, it will come to pass if you get up and take action and commit. You have to be committed. Okay. So ask yourself, when you say, how can I do this? Your mind goes to work for you to figure out a way to make it happen. It goes to work for you. And so there's a difference in like when there's something that you want. There was one point when I first started my business, I could not afford to invest on high levels. I just could not do it. And so when something was presented to me, I would say, oh, I can't afford that. And then I started getting frustrated because I was like, I want to be able to like start investing in myself. And so I changed my thoughts. And instead of me immediately saying, I can't afford that, I would say, how can I afford that? And I told you the story about how when I wanted this class, it was like one of the first courses I ever bought. And I was like, I need this to help me to learn how to do this stuff that I need to know how to do for my business. I did not have the extra money laying around. Okay. This course, I remember it was $1,000. I did not have $1,000 laying around. Okay. So what I did, I went in my closet. I had a lot of high-end purses in my closet. I went in my closet and I sold those purses and I invested and I got that program. that I needed. And that was me saying, how can I afford this? And then immediately I thought, oh my goodness, I have all these beautiful and expensive purses in my closet that are not doing me any service. I will trade that for something that's going to help me to get to my next level. And that's what you have to be willing to do. You have to be willing to trade something in for where you're trying to go. And it could be in the form of anything. It could be your time. It could be you saying, listen, I watch too much Netflix. I'm trading in the time that I've been spending on Netflix to focus on growing my business. It could be, you know what? I've been spending too much time scrolling on Facebook. I'm trading in that time I've been scrolling on Facebook to focus on growing my ministry. Or whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing. And you know what it is. I believe that right now, I believe from the bottom of my heart that God is doing something really amazing with his daughters, right? I believe that we're prospering now more than ever. And I've told you this before, that the Proverbs 31 woman, as many times have I read Proverbs 31, I did not realize that the Proverbs 31 woman is a businesswoman until I became a businesswoman. And when I really started really looking at what this woman did, I said to myself, I said, she was a businesswoman and she was a bad businesswoman. And guess what? She's in us. Okay. She's in each and every one of us. You are her. You're the Proverbs 31 woman. Okay. She's in us. And so when you go back and when you read that passage, if you have time, go read it tonight. Look at her mastery. Look at how she was organized. Look at what she did with her time. Look at what her family said about her. She was an amazing businesswoman. And she was committed. If you look at the things that she was able to accomplish, that is not a woman who is not committed. It's not a woman who's not dedicated. It's not a woman who is not focused. So you really have to take a self-evaluation and say, what do I need to do that I haven't been doing? What do I need to do to be able to master this thing that's before me? You don't have to know everything. You don't have to know everything. You just have to make a decision to master whatever you need to master to get to that next level. Instead of saying, well, I'm not good at that. Now, I don't mean the things that you just, not everybody is going to be great at everything. I'm talking about that thing that you know that this thing is getting ready to, if you do this thing, it will skyrocket your business. It'll skyrocket your ministry. I'm talking about that thing that you know that you should be doing. But you've been saying, oh, I'm not really good at it. I don't really know how to do it. Make the decision to commit. Make the decision to master it. If it's scary to you, that's probably a sign that that's what you're supposed to be doing. If it scares you to the point where your knees are shaking, that's probably a sign that that's what you should be doing. If sales scares you, you probably should run into it. If getting on the phone with people and offering your program is scary, that's probably what you should be doing. If finding new customers and clients is scary, that's probably what you should be doing. If doing videos scares you, you probably should do videos. And commit to it. Commit to that thing and make up your mind that no matter what, you're in this thing for the long haul. And that you're going to become great at it. You're going to become a master at it. Okay. So coming up next month is the next Brand in Demand Bootcamp. And you can sign up for the Brand in Demand Bootcamp by tapping the link in my bio. Or you can go to brandindemandbootcamp.com and sign up. This is a 5-day high level. Notice that I said high level. And for those of you who have been through it, you already know. It is a 5-day high level training series. And we really go for 9 days. It's a 5-day high level training series. And then we do 4 bonus sessions after that. And it's really just like that. It is a boot camp. Makita said, you better stop messing with me. It's a 5-day high level training series, and it's completely free. And throughout this boot camp, I'm going to be talking about how to build a brand around your purpose. So we're going to talk about how to build a purposeful brand. I'm going to teach you how to position yourself as an expert, even if you're brand new. I'm going to teach you how to create content that builds your authority. And I'm going to show you how to put in a marketing game plan for your brand moving forward. And in this boot camp, I deliver a ton of value. And by the end of the boot camp, my promise to you is that if you show up and if you hang with me every day, you will not leave the same. That is my promise. You will not leave the same as when you started. Okay. So what you're seeing right now, you get this times 10 in the Brand in Demand boot camp. And it's just really an awesome time of ladies. And then we have a few gents. We have a few gentlemen that come in too, but it's mostly women entrepreneurs who want to have start a coaching or consulting business, or grow their coaching and consulting business, or a service provider. So if you're an author, a speaker, or you want to create a course, or any kind of expert, and you really want to stand out and build your brand online and attract the right people to you, then this boot camp is for you. You can just tap the link in my bio and sign up, or go to brandindemandbootcamp.com and sign up. The next one starts on March 8th, and we are going to have an amazing time. Even if you've already been through it, you're welcome to hop in there and join us again, because each time everything is a little bit different, and it's different groups of people coming in. Sometimes the content is different. So if you've already been through it, you're perfectly welcome to go through it again. We have people that have been through it more than once, and it's just an awesome time. Not because of me, but first of all, because I'm just a vessel. I'm just a messenger. Okay. But it's because of the people who come and they're ready to level up. And I believe that when it's time for you to go to your next level, the person who you need shows up. The person who you need shows up. You guys have heard the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I believe that. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. Okay. So go to brandindemandbootcamp.com to sign up, or just tap the link in my bio. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Questions, comments? Shakita says, I'm learning to be diligent. Oh, that's a good one. That diligence is something else. Being diligent, that's a good one. That's a whole nother that's a whole nother session. That's a whole nother hour of discussion. Maybe we'll come back and talk about diligence, but that is a really, really great one. Makita says, thank you. You're welcome, Makita. Thanks so much for watching. All right, guys, it has been so awesome hanging out with you. And I will be back again tomorrow. So come hang out with me again tomorrow, guys. And I'll be seeing you really soon. Candace says, nope, signing up for the boot camp. Yes, Candace, come on over. Come on over. So I will see you guys tomorrow, okay? And if you don't have any questions or comments, have a wonderful night, and I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. Good night.